telling this before. Most of the times in life, we don't get beat on the complicated stuff. We get beat on the base stuff. Now, I'm 69 years old. I own a firm called Evergreen Advisors. We manage several $100 million for clients. I went to undergraduate school at the United States Military Academy at West Point. I later on became a college football coach. I coached linebackers at the University of Tennessee. I coached linebackers and defensive end and defensive line at UCLA. I did that for about 12 years, okay? So I've been in the military, I've been a college football coach, I love the business. And almost everything that I would talk to you about at some point in my life, I screwed up, okay? It's not like I came out, I didn't wake up one day and count the fire on a $900,000 house and a $600,000 income and all that stuff. I've got all that now. And I don't mean that from a bragging standpoint, but if it could have been done wrong, I screwed it up. And I imagine at some point you're going to also. Take a look around you and think for a minute. Most of the people that reach 65 years old in this country, about 25% of them do okay financially. I mean, are doing real well. About 25% fair. And about 50% of this country is dead broke at 65 years of age. Doesn't make sense, does it? So when you look around that room, you got to decide how many people are in this class now. 5, 8, 11, 15? Which of the 7 or 8 are going to end up dead broke? Or why? I was telling Sister Erwin, you do this. Let's say you take a summer job this summer, okay? All right. What's your first name?
Ashton.
All right, Ashton.
Ooh,
Ashton. Speak clearly.
All right, so he's going to take a summer job. He's going to work at a convenience store. The cash register is down. Okay, it happens. And you don't have this precious phone right next to you to punch it in. I walk in there, I get a Coke, I go down there, I put it on the counter, Ashton's right there. The Coke's $2.19, I hand him a $20 bill. I did this a couple of weeks ago, coming back from Knoxville. Had to be a 17 or 18-year-old girl there. I got a register window, and all I got was a complete blank stare. Why? It was a simple math. $20 bill, $2.19. How much change? $17.81. If you don't know that, and I don't know you, that's my only experience with you, even though you won't see it in my face, what do you think I'm thinking? What?
Idiot.
Stupid, idiot, dumb, not the brightest bulb in the socket? Any of those things, right? It's not a big deal, but think about it for a minute. Is it only 2 or 3 things? If I don't know you, you may be the most spiritually kind soul in the world. You may be the best child. You may be the best sister or brother. You may be a great person. But all I can look at is, what are you wearing? What happens when you open your mouth? And do you know it's 1781? And people are drawing those conclusions all the time. You're 25 years old now. You just got married, you got a boyfriend, you're going to have a dinner party. And you decide you're going to make lasagna. Now, if you don't know a lasagna recipe, where are you going to go to get it?
Internet.
Internet, right? Read that recipe. And it says, all right, lasagna, great recipe. It's got 5 stars. You read all the reviews and stuff like that. Problem is, it's a recipe for 4. So what do you got to do? You get 12 people coming. Yeah. 3/4 of a cup of flour becomes what? Better be 2 1/4. Because if you do 2, lasagna's going to suck. Right? I mean, so there's so many practical application things. You got a wall in a room you want to paint. How do you figure it out? Wall's 15 by 12. How much paint?
the size of the can of paint.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is what? Get square foot? 15 by 12, what's square footage?
No clue.
Can you multiply 15 by 12?
That's
It's not 1781, it's 225, isn't it? 15 by 12. Right? No, 180. 180.
I do 15 by 10 and then 15 by 2 and then add it.
That's exactly right. How do I do that? I don't remember 15 by 12 automatically, but I know 15 by 10 is 150, right? And then I know 2 times 15 is 30, so it may take me a second longer without actually knowing. Like 15 times 14, I know 15 times 15 is 225. So 15 times 14, I look at 225. Now, in my world, in the day-to-day world, we're not interested in the right answer all the time. We're interested in what? Being close. We know we're not going to be perfect if we may spread the paint a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner or do something like that. But if we go 15 by 12 and we say, okay, it's 180, and I'm reading the back of the can, and the can says that it'll cover, a gallon will cover 400 square feet. I'm probably going to have to do what with the paint? How many coats? Probably 2. So 1 gallon is going to do it, right? 15 times 12, 180, 360. I should be able to do it. And as always, you can always go to the paint store and you can ask the person if there's an app to do it somewhere. But all of those things. I'll give you another one. Have any of you ever seen a golf tournament on TV?
a little bit.
What kind of math? Who has to be an incredible mathematician? Who? The caddy. Caddy. I mean, how good does the caddy have to be? Think about it. You see these guys walking down the aisle, or they're walking down the fairway. They walk up to the ball. That's the first chance they get to assess the true yardage. Maybe 182 yards. Maybe 12 degrees uphill. Maybe a 15-mile-an-hour crosswind. The guy's got to hit that ball 100, maybe 74 yards left of the can in this area of 5 foot. And if I'm carrying that bag, I've got to walk up there within 10 seconds. I've got to hand you the right club. And there are maybe, what might that shot be worth? If it's on a Sunday afternoon, 1.5 million? $1.6 million? If I hand you the 7 instead of the 6, you may have just lost $700,000 or $800,000. You do it enough. That's exactly right. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, have most of you already had geometry?
Yeah.
Okay. Day-to-day use. I'll go back to the golf swing for just a second because I know a little bit about that. In a golf swing, think about this. If you, in golf swing, when you make contact down, if you look at great professionals, what you're going to see is, at the second that they make contact, their shoulders are going to be open this way, about 10 degrees. Their hips are going to be open about 45 degrees. So when I start down here, if my hips have to be open 45 degrees, my shoulders 10, what has to move first? What? The hips do, don't they? They've got to go, because this has got to be at 45 when this is at 10. If I don't know geometry, it's almost virtually impossible to be a good golfer without an understanding of basic geometry. It's not. Now, I doubt that the young man or woman playing on the OPGA or the PGA Tour gave that a second thought when they were taking a geometry class. But I intuitively know, what's this angle? What's this? Yeah, what's this? 180. I got to know. I'm going to know it just in everything I do. Any of you guys play football here? Okay. When I start talking to you about taking a proper pursuit angle, what do I mean? What is a proper pursuit angle? Right angle. What's going to determine that? A couple of things are going to determine it, aren't you? If you're playing Baylor and you got a running back for Baylor and you're looking at the film and you know he's fast, that changes the pursuit angle. I got to know that angle. Now, I taught that for a living to great football guys, players that played in the NFL for many, many years out there. But if somebody's moving that way, I've got to determine, am I moving at this angle? Am I moving at a 45-degree angle? Or am I moving at a 90-degree angle? Because it's going to determine on how quickly he can get to that point. It's going to determine out whether he's running or whether it's a pitch out there. And you're not going to play college athletics and not understand pursuit angles. It isn't going to happen. So there's just, I mean, I don't know in a day how many things that I am confronted with that have something to do with math, all of which are going to negatively affect me if I don't get it. So despite the fact that sometimes you just might be trying to check a box to get to college, no. The other thing that happens, math changes. You've gotten mostly past, all the things I'm describing are really not complicated math, are they? They're just really, they're the real everyday stuff. Here's the good news, bad news. Most of all the stuff you learn after that, you ain't ever going to use. Oh. I mean, it's hard too, on top of it, isn't it? All the base stuff you're going to use. What did I get out of it when I went on down the line and I started studying statistics and I got into higher degrees of calculus out there? What have I gotten out of that that was different than I got out of the practical day-to-day math? What's that? Well, you need the basic. But you know what? Enhanced math, further math, more complicated math, it was really dealing with formulas, wasn't it? What I got out of math as I went along was the ability to develop critical thinking. When I got out of being a college football coach, and what I had determined, I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea whatsoever. And I had in college no business classes whatsoever. I actually became a financial advisor by answering an ad in a newspaper. When I moved back to Chattanooga, did not know a stock or bond, knew absolutely nothing. But I have gotten one thing. I'm not Catholic, but I went to Catholic schools growing up in Central California. I got one thing out of all of that critical learning was the ability to assimilate information. The ability to solve a problem. Same thing like the cat. Yeah, it was a little bit tough for a while, but you can learn conditions. Because some of that's not just pure math. Some of it's how much did the ball get affected when the wind's blowing 12 miles an hour in your face. Some of it you just got to kind of feel. There's not always a perfect answer to a lot of stuff out there. Now, you can take this stuff and you can go in different directions. Credit cards. How many of you got credit cards? Are they good, bad, evil, what?
Good and evil.
They can be both. Why?
And good because of the convenience of them, but you don't know how much you're spending on them sometimes. You can overuse them if you overuse them or don't pay them in time, and they come back to bite you.
Pretty significantly, don't they? I mean, you look at the average American family in this country has $15,000, $16,000 of credit card debt. What's the average interest rate if you're not paying the money off?
2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
On an annualized basis, what's the average? I'll tell you what it is, 18%. Yep.
Good gosh.
18%. Now, so you got that credit card out there, maybe you got a $5,000 limit. What's it really costing? Let's say I keep my average balance, I'm not paying it off. Anybody have a credit card that doesn't pay it off every month is a fool. I mean, if you're just, you're borrowing money create a lifestyle that you can't afford. But let's just say you get it up to 1,000, you get it up to 15, you pay the 500 back, but your average balance is about $1,000 that you end up paying interest on. At 18% on 1,000, what's that gonna cost? $180 a year. Soon you got a $10,000 balance, what's it cost? $1,800 a year for that stuff. You've got to know that. Now they can, a few years ago, I don't know if you heard this thing, Dodd-Frank, they passed a bill in Congress that said, if you have a credit card and get your statements, they have to spell all the terms out, and down at the bottom it says X, Y, Z. Now, but what you'll see is every credit card has a minimum payment that you have to make. So let's say you've got that, let's say you owe $10,000 on that credit card. And you got $1,800 of interest in there, so they're calculating the interest. And then you have to pay interest plus a little bit of principal. But do you know the way they set that up on the minimum balance? You know how long it would take you if you only paid the minimum balance on that $10,000?
5 years.
29. 29. You're going to pay about $28,000 interest on that $10,000 in a 30-year period of time. Now, that's the level of practicality that I need to know. All right, and you guys got parents that got a mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, if you were going to go out and get a mortgage for a house, you're going to buy a $300,000 house, you're going to borrow $250,000. All right. What are the length of the terms normally going to be? How many years? Any idea?
30.
30 is the most prominent. What would be the next most prominent? No? 15. All right, so let's do that. Let's take a $250,000 house. Let's get a 30-year mortgage. Let's see if I got that down. Yeah. So I'm paying on a $250,000 loan. I'm paying 4% interest on that loan. If I take the terms out for a 30-year period of time, and I borrow that $250,000 and I pay it back over 30 years, the amount of interest that I'm going to pay on that $250,000 home is $177,000 of interest. Now you got to add that to the $250,000 of principal you paid back, right? So now we're talking about $327,000. Okay, so we're talking about 177 and 250, it's more than that, about 380. 177,000 of interest that you're going to pay. Now, that's the most prominent for 30 year. Let's go to the 15 and borrow the same 250. You know what the difference is? You pay $77,000 of interest over a 15-year period of time. You just saved $100,000 in that transaction by paying it off over a 15-year period of time versus a 30. Now I'm guessing $177,000 would be a lot of money to most people in this room. A lot. And it doesn't really impact, why does none of this impact you today? Because you ain't got a mortgage. Out of sight, out of mind, right? How many of you is it eventually going to affect? Everybody. Everybody in the room. And the world doesn't care if you don't get it. They don't care. They could care less. The fact that you understand, you get it, you understand the difference. So what would I do? If I knew that I was going to pay an extra $110,000 in interest, what would it compel me to do when I buy the home? Say that loud.
15-year plan instead of 30.
Really? If you don't walk away, I don't care what you put in your notes about what I said, if you walk away with that one concept, you're going to be $100,000 better off than you would have been otherwise if you never allowed yourself to take out a 30-year mortgage. And you know what you're gonna find out if you go home and ask your parents what length of mortgage they all have? You know what they're gonna tell you? 30. Why? Why? Why'd they do it that way? I'm assuming most of your parents aren't stupid. They work hard enough to send you to a private school and a very good school. Why do they all have the wrong mortgage?
They didn't know any better.
One, they probably didn't maybe know any better at that time.
You have to pay more
Yeah.
in the 15-year period.
That's exactly right. That's where Sister Mary Rebecca's coming in. Let's go back and look at this. My payment on the 30-year mortgage is $1,581 a month. My payment on the 30-year mortgage is $1,500. My payment on the 15-year mortgage is $2,200. In order for me to take the 15-year loan rather than the 30-year loan and stay within my budget, what would I have had to do?
Sacrifice something.
You'd have had to buy a less expensive home. And that's what they didn't want to do. Does that make sense? So instead of buying a $300,000 house and getting a $250,000 loan, I needed to buy a $200,000 house and get a $150,000 loan because I could afford the 15-year payment versus a 30-year payment. And I went to school and I had a good math teacher and I figured this out long before I screwed it up when I bought the first house. You see what ends up being the difference between the person that's 65 with the money or without the money? Because here's what happens. What happens when you get married, you buy a home? What happens when you get house poor? There's only two spigots in this world when you're out there, and when every one of you start and you go out there on your own, you may be working for a company, you may start your own business, but there's two spigots in your business from a financial standpoint, in your life. There's the in-go and the out-go, right? There's revenue, it's income that you make, and it's expenses that you have. If you determine that a percentage of your expenses is going to go towards mortgage, if the mortgage payment is too high, something else has to give, doesn't it? What normally gives, and you probably won't know the answer to this, where do people end up sacrificing normally? What do they give up when they take that, buy that more expensive house? The mortgage becomes a bigger percentage of their total income every year. Something else has to give. What it is savings. Instead, you heard the term 401k? Mm-hmm. So you have a 401k or you have an IRA and you put money into it. You make X amount of money, you spend Y amount of money, and you save the difference. The problem is for a majority of Americans, even fairly smart people, there ain't much difference. Because they're bringing in $3,000, they're spending $3,000. The house payment's $1,400. They got $1,600 to live off of. By the time they pay the food, pay the utility bills, the one thing that they don't put money in is a 401k, the IRA, or whatever it would be. So there's always something to be given up. It wouldn't be any difference, probably, since most of you aren't ready to buy a home. What are one of the potential things you would like to own right now? What year is this class?
2018.
Okay. What's the one thing that you are probably more interested in owning that costs a pretty reasonable amount of money?
Car.
Ah, yes. The automobile. Now, how many people are car poor? How many people buy more cars than they can afford? Because it falls under the same principle, doesn't it? If you really think about it. If you want to go out and buy a new Honda Accord or whatever kind of car that floats your boat out there, you can buy a new one and you can buy it for $34,000. You can buy one that's 10 years old, it's got 82,000 miles on it, for $12,000. Going to be a dramatic difference in the payments between one may be $500 or $600, one may be $200 a month. It's that difference. The difference between the $200 and the $500 payment is what? $300. Is that $300 that maybe went into an IRA? And what would it be worth to you at 25 years? Let's say at 25 years of age. You're out there on your own, you're out of school, and you've been driving that crummy old car that your parents let you use 10 years ago, and you're pretty well run the wheels of it, and you're gonna go buy your first car. And now you're gonna make a decision, do I buy the new car, or I buy a car at 8 or 10 years old? Because you know what all my buddies are driving? They're driving the new car. They're also buying the more expensive house. They're using a 30-year payment. And they're gonna be broke as you know what, at 65 years of age. You know, all of this decision-making just heaps on top of itself out there at the other end. So now, what am I gonna do? Let's say the difference in the older car and the newer car is $2,500. And that, in the payments, or $250. That'd be $3,000 a year, right? Let's take the $3,000 a year. Does this stuff work?
Yep.
All right, let's take the $3,000. And that was the difference in monthly payments. What did I say, you were 25? Okay. Teach you something else in the process of this, and let's see what that one decision at 25 years of age cost you over the next 40 years. We're going to take that $3,000 and we're going to buy the old car, but we're going to take that $3,000 difference for 1 year at 25 years of age. And we're going to put it into a Roth IRA. After tax, you put the $3,000 in, you buy the S&P 500, the general market, and you don't touch it for 40 years.
You say Roth IRA under the Rothschilds?
No. Roth IRA is for a congressman named Roth. They had a regular IRA is you got a tax deduction on the front. A Roth, you don't get the deduction. The gross tax deferred comes out tax-free. But they've got something out here, and there's probably a subject for a different day. Well, we're going to put it in an investment account. We're going to let it grow tax-free, and we're going to leave it alone. We're going to only track this one $3,000 investment that we got that $3,000 by having a $250 a month less car payment. There's a thing out there called the Rule of 72. Have you ever heard that term? The Rule of 72 will tell you how long it takes to double your money. Okay? If you take an average rate of return of anything, let's say your average rate of return in the stock market over 100 years has been 10%. If you divide the 10 into 72, what are you going to get? 7.2? Divide your average rate of return into 72 and it tells you how many years it takes to double your money. Okay? So we're going to go 10% rate of return and it's going to take us 7 years to double our money, right? All right. What does that mean at age 32? What's the 3,000 worth if we're averaging 10%? How long it takes to double money? Double 3 is what?
6,000.
Okay. All right, let's add another 7 years. Let's go to age 39. What is it?
9K.
Double 6? Okay. All right, let's go to 46. Let's go to 53. Let's go to 60. 98? 96. $35 years. One $3,000 deposit. One time at 25, at 60 years of age, is worth $96,000. Now you tell me what buying that new car cost you. Now, if you combine that what happens if at age 26 you do the 3,000 again? You're dumping that into another 94, 95,000. Can you see how two $6,000 payments at 25 and 26 years of age equal $200,000 of money in retirement? Now, put that money in This one's kind of interesting. I'll pull this off. I've got it here. I ran one sheet here for someone. I didn't use $3,000. I used $2,000. In this particular example, took a 19-year-old. Okay, 19 years old, and that 19-year-old started saving $2,000 a year, and they saved it for 9 years. No, they saved it for 8 years in this example. So they had a total of what in it between age 19 and 26? $2,000 a year, $16,000. So they had $16,000 in it, and that's the only money they saved. Now, they did this on a 12% rate of return. To me, that'd probably be too high, but just go with me on the numbers for a second. They never put another penny in that account. Okay? That was it. All they saved was the $16,000 starting at 25 years of age. Well, no, in this case, it was 19 years of age. Okay. Do you know what that was worth at 65? $2,288,000. That's $2,000 saved from 19 to 26. I'd find the oldest car on God's green earth. $2 million, wouldn't I? Now, let me do one a little bit different here with this. Take the same person, instead of you starting at 19 and saving it to 26, we're going to let you start at 27 years of age. And you've now got to put $2,000 a year in it. Every year between 27 and 65. Okay? So instead of having $16,000 in this, you're now going to have $78,000 of your money in it. And you're going to let it grow during that time period, that same rate of interest. You know how much money you have? $1,532,000. $750,000 different. Yet you put in $78,000, and this person only put in $16,000. What was the difference?
Longer time.
Yeah. All it was time, right? One started at 19 years of age, and one started at 27 years of age. That was the only difference. They put in 1/5 or 1/4 as much money, yet had 30% to 40% more money at the other end. So what does that tell you about the time value of money? And it's a big deal. And unfortunately, it's a big deal in life when you're the most dumb. Pardon me, sister, but that's a bitch. It really is tough. We don't get the good, by the time we learn all this stuff, we're 35 or 40, we're not 18.